Why, hello everyone. It is Studfit. Happy anniversary. We're coming up on 1 full year of Mario Kart Tour. And in celebration, I wanted to put together a top 10 drivers list. This isn't one of your top 10 lists that are just relatively arbitrary or one of those stack rankings. I want to actually get data here. So I pulled on one of my good friends, Tabor. He has this spreadsheet that he's been updating for many, many months. And basically, if you think that there's anything in the way of data in the system or in the game, Tabor's probably got it in his spreadsheet, whether it's number of item boxes or number of dash panels or whatever it might be. He has it documented. So I want to bring him in for this specific project. And so we're going to be kicking it off here in a second. But thanks for joining us, Tabor.
Yeah, glad to join you, Studfit. Been watching some of your videos. Really like what you're doing with Mario Kart community, plus just all the Discord conversations that we've had with the game and where it's been and where it is and where it's going. So happy to add some sort of little contribution with the top 10 drivers, and I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome. Now, Tabor has a little different experience than me in that he started from day one. He is a free-to-play player. I started in April. I like to buy packs. I'm a pay-to-win player considerably, and some would call me a whale. So have different perspectives here, and so we'll jump right into that. But before I do, I'll let Tabor explain how we broke this down. How did we formulate our top 10 list?
Yeah, so I basically, as I was doing this spreadsheet, I was like, you know what? I would love to just kind of figure out who's the most valuable. Now, we don't know what's going to happen in the future, but we could take things that happened in the past and where things are currently and use that to predict who the best ones have been so far. Maybe it'll change, maybe it'll stay the same, but we're just controlling what we can control. So basically what I did is I sat down and I tried to think of the four, the most important aspects of each driver. And I decided to take 2 from the past and 2 from the present. So here's the breakdown that I decided to use. The first one is the ones from the past. The first one is the ones from the present is the driver skill, what is the skill that each driver has currently, whether it be triple mushroom or flower or ice flower or whatever the other ones are. There's 21 different ones that we decided to try to rank. Now, I didn't want to go through the process of doing that by myself or just maybe one other person, me or Studfit. So we decided to put together just this comprehensive survey. We sent it out to some experts as well as some different types of players, and they came up with a ranking of these 21 different skills. And I'll show you those rankings or the results of those rankings from the survey next. As you can see, no surprise, Coin Box was number 1, Giant Banana was number 2, and it goes all the way down to what people voted to be the worst 2, which is Bomb Up Cannon and Bubble. And there might be some surprises in here, but there might be some that make the most sense. Any comments on this list, Studfit?
No, ultimately, I think everyone's pretty unanimous that Bubble is the worst, and Coinbox is by far the best. Really, everything else, if you're front running, you may or may not even worry about this, and that's why this is only 20% of the value. But I think the rest of the full algorithm has a pretty holistic view of what we consider the most valuable at this one moment. So I'll let you jump into the other 60% or 80%.
Yeah. So we then decided to kind of look at what happened in the past, and that's how often these drivers were used in rank mode. As we know, there's 3 ranked courses every week, 6 for each tour, and those top shelf drivers can vary depending on which courses are picked. And obviously, what I decided to do is I took 20% of the algorithm, 20% of the calculation based on how often they've been used in the past. Now, some of the newer drivers didn't have a chance to be used very much. Some of the older drivers had a lot of chance. So we kind of took that into account, and 20% is ranked on how many times it was used as a top shelf. We also took into account, because the newer drivers don't get really an advantage since they haven't been around very much. So I took into account what the percentage is of each of those drivers for ranked mode. So the ones that are used a long time ago, the ones that were introduced a long time ago, have could possibly have a high or a low percent. The ones that are more recent probably have a high percent because they're spotlight. So what we did is we ranked it based on the percentage of top shelf ranked courses since they've been introduced, and we based it on 20% of that. So the ranked mode is all about the past history, the driver skill, and this next one is based on the current history, which is driver value. Now, as we know, each driver has a certain number of courses that it is top shelf in. Some of them are low, some of them are high. It just depends on what it is. So what I ranked it based on was their what we call assumed value, which is the number of top shelf courses minus the city-specific courses. As we know, the city-specific courses don't repeat very often. Sometimes you only see them once. Now, the Los Angeles Tour is one where it was a new city course was just introduced. And as we know, coming up, the Anniversary Tour is going to have some city-specific courses as well. So that's going to add to the benefit or add to the value of these drivers. But then after that's over, those cities don't really show up unless it's something special, as we see.
Great point. And as a disclaimer, these are our opinions. This algorithm is our algorithm. It's our opinion. If you have a difference of opinion, comment below. We'd love to hear your assessment of our top 10 list, and we'll as with that being said, we'll jump right forward into number 10.
Yeah.
So as we're going through this list, one of the things to kind of keep in mind is this is the value as of right now. So I kind of thought about it this way, that if somebody gave you 10 high-end driver tickets and put a gun to your head and said you have to use all these tickets right now and you have to win the next 4 weeks of ranked, where are you going to allocate those tickets? And so, there are so many great drivers on this list, and I think you could argue, 9 or 10 or 10 or 11, 8 or 9, whatever it might be. But here's the list. We'll jump right into it, and we'll tell you why. So we'll start first with Party Time Pauline, PTP. Tell us a little bit about her stats, Tabor.
Yeah, so as you can see, Party Time Pauline is very valuable. One, because she has a coin box. Again, one of the top ranked skills of all the drivers, so that really helps. She was introduced during the holiday tour in the middle of December, and she was a spotlight during the holiday tour, and then she was in a couple other pipes after that. So she's been available for people to pick up 5 different times from a pipe. She's not been on any kind of banner or anything like that, so you just kind of had to get lucky to pull for her. But as you can see, she has 13 tracks that are that she's a top shelf in on a course, and 8 of them are assumed. So that does mean she has 5 city-specific tracks that Studfit's going to talk about later on when he talks about coverages. She's been involved in ranked mode 12 different times, which is 9.5% since she's been introduced. Not bad, about 1 in 10. And then we also decided to look at which carts and which gliders go best with her. So of her top shelf courses, which carts and gliders are also top shelf most frequently with her? And we saw that both Platinum Taxi and Yellow Taxi appeared twice, which really isn't that high. And New Year's Kite and Silver Bells appear 3 times for the glider section.
Awesome. Great points there. So the way that we broke this down is to just kind of give you a glimpse as to her value in 2 parts. 1, what's her unique top 10 coverage? And then 2, what's her shared top 10 coverage? So we'll start first with shared top 10 coverage. Essentially, you can see on this, basically all top 10 are on this one slide. And so you can, it's going to spoil a little bit, but you can see, on the bottom, there are, Black Yoshi, Chef Mario, and we'll go, there's no order here, but we'll go through those orders today. But the reason I want to point this out is that the shared top 10 coverage means that Pauline Party Time shares this track with another top 10 driver. So if you're putting a lot of these tickets into one of the other top 10 drivers, you're going to have a track we might call it a dead track, or, a track that's kind of wasted for that other driver because there's overlap, and you can only use one driver on this track. We would highly recommend to use one of these 2. There are other drivers, but obviously these are some of the most valuable drivers, so these are ones you probably should have higher levels just naturally. And if not, keep that in the back of your mind, and you probably should start leveling them up. But since you can only use one driver, we'd recommend you using one of the 2. And so obviously we kind of keep that in its own category because you can only use one. Versus the unique top 10 coverage, this is a situation where you're going to use Pauline Party Time over Peach Kimono or over Waluigi Bus Driver. As you can see here, just some examples. You're just going to use her. I think it's pretty common, and you're probably going to have her as a higher level anyway. So you see here, the only unique top 10 coverage, and this is why she's number 10 and not number 6 or number 5, is because Waluigi Pinball is really her only non-RT track, which you see there in purple, or non-city track that she has all to herself. And so, although she's Coinbox and although she has a lot of tracks, technically at this point in time, only 8 that are non-city tracks. She only has 1 that could be, by herself. And then she, of course, shares a lot with Gold Dry Bones. However, you see at the very bottom, these are some great pairings. So these are some other drivers that you might want to actually invest tickets in, that you won't feel like you're losing a track because there's no overlap between Party Time Pauline and some of these other drivers. So this is the way that we're going to be going through this list, and I'm excited because you can kind of start to diversify your portfolio. Hey, maybe I should have Peach Vacation and Party Time Pauline, and make sure that they're both stocked up, and it gives me a total of 20 tracks or whatever it might be. So with that being said, we'll move forward to number 9. Number 9. Gold Koopa free running. And I'll let Tabor jump into some unique facts. He's obviously a unique driver. I'll let it take from here.
Yeah. So again, Gold Koopa's got Coinbox. As we know, there are currently 7 Coinbox drivers in the game, and we've already talked about 2 of them. It just shows how valuable that skill can be when it comes to getting points. And Gold Koopa free running was introduced during the New Year's tour on January 1, right at the beginning of the year. However, he was only obtainable as a Gold Pass gift. There was no way other to get him through a pipe until the cooking tour came around, where there was a gold pipe, and then you could get all kinds of gold characters, including him. And then he's been in a few other pipes since then. He was also in a banner during the Hammer Bro Tour for $40. So if you're free to play like me, that again was not an option. But I am free to play friendly with Gold Pass, so I was able to pick him up with that, and then I've been able to add some tickets to him, and he's been a great investment. 13 top shelf tracks for him, only 11 assumed, so only 2 of them are city courses. He's been used in rank mode 9 times, which is not a very high percentage of 7.5%. It's not as high as some of the other ones that we talked about, but again, he's really valuable when it comes to looking at some of the other comparison that goes with him. And he's frequently matched with the carts of Double Decker, Blue Soda, and Happy Ride 3 times out of the 13 top tracks that he has, and 4 times for the Blooper Hanafuda. Typically, we kind of laugh at the Hanafudas because they're just kind of those items that people get as Gold Pass items and don't use it very much. However, there are a few of them that have some value, some really high values that we're going to find out later on in a glider video. But that's definitely one that's matched up with Gold Koopa free running the most. He has been in the pipe, again, only 3 times, and so he's pretty rare, but at the same time, he can be easily acquired if you really know what you're doing, is when those special pipes come up and decide to really focus on him.
Great point, Tabor. So one of the unique things about Gold Koopa free running is he's got unique top 10 coverage. You see there on the left, he's got 5 tracks that are normal rotating tracks. He's got 2 additional RT tracks that he has by himself. Obviously, there are a lot of drivers in those 2, and then 2 city tracks, the Tokyo Blur 2 and Tokyo Blur 2 RT. Thankfully, he doesn't have that much overlap with other drivers. Essentially, you have that Koopa Troopa Beach, which has 3 Coinbox drivers to choose from. Donut Plains 1T. He's got 2 RT tracks that are brought in every once in a while. Each of those with 2 other Coinbox drivers as well. So, he pairs really well with our other non-Coinbox drivers, and a very valuable member of this list at number 9. Going forward to number 8, we have Peach Wedding. Try not to spoil it before we get to the slide. So Peach Wedding is a little unique with Triple Mushroom, but we'll explain why she's on the list. We'll take it from here, Tabor.
Yeah, so Peach Wedding's unique. She has triple mushrooms. She's the only one in the top 10 with triple mushrooms. She was introduced during the Peach Tour in the middle of June, so she hasn't been around for too long. But she's one of the rarer ones in the top 10 because right now she's only been in 2 pipes. She was a spotlight during the Peach Tour of week number 1, and then she was a non-spotlight in the Peach Tour pipe of week number 2. So she's only been available twice when it comes to dealing with pipes, and that's it. No banners or anything else like that as a gift or anything. But again, triple mushroom can be a very valuable one. It's kind of the same as a just using 3 mushrooms at the same time, or during a triple mushroom frenzy. It's about the same score as getting just a regular mushroom frenzy. However, I think you get 1 extra mushroom point value and you go a little bit faster, and it lasts a little bit longer. It's great for some of those courses that have cut-throughs, or you're going through grass or gravel or mud or whatever it may be. She has 12 top tracks assigned to her. 11 of them are assumed, so she only has 1 city course, and that was just recently introduced in the Los Angeles Tour. She has 8. She's been available in the ranked mode 8 times, which doesn't seem like very much, but keep in mind that she's only been around since the middle of June. So that actually amounts to 16.7% of all the ranked courses since then. So that's looking at 1 out of 6. That means pretty much every tour she's pretty much been there at least once, which is going to be would be very beneficial as you start looking at doing well in the ranked mode. The most frequently matched items with her are the red B-Dasher 4 times, which is pretty high, and the silver and gold hearts and the chocolate donut for the gliders 3 times.
Fantastic. Moving on to the coverage. One of the downsides is that she does have a lot of overlap with the other top 10 for what it's worth. The good part about what her coverage of tracks would be, she only has 1 city track and 1 RT track, so she has a lot of recirculating. When you do look at the unique top 10 coverage, no one really has a skill here that you would prefer over triple mushrooms, except for Daisy Holiday, which has Lucky 7. Anything else other than that, I mean, you're going to pick her. It's just pretty straightforward. Even though there's a lot of drivers, you're just not going to pick Mushroom Cannon or triple bananas, double bob bomb, anything like that. So just kind of solidifies the fact that she's on this list. These 4 tracks, you're most likely going to pick her, assuming she's the highest level. But she does have a lot of overlap with some of these other drivers. But I will say, just to kind of point this out, some of the tracks that she has are ones where they're a little longer tracks, and you might want to use that triple mushroom to really kind of get you from one section to another and try to catch up. So keep that in mind, but definitely a very valuable member of our list, and number 8. So we're moving forward to number 7. We have, drumroll please, Mario Swimwear. So this guy is obviously very unique in that it's relatively new, but we'll explain why he's on the list. Take it from there, Tabor.
Yeah, so Mario Swimwear has Dash Ring as his special skill, and he's the only one, again, in the top 10 that has this particular skill. And some people swear by this skill, and I don't think it's that bad either. It can go either way, though, because it can not only benefit you, but it can benefit others. However, if other people use a Dash Ring, it will benefit you when it's not even yours. So, again, it works either way, but it really is kind of the same thing as a mushroom. You just got this burst of speed as you go. Mario Swimwear was introduced during the Marine Tour at the beginning of July. So believe it or not, it's already been 3 months. But he's been around for 3 months, and he has 14 top tracks to his name. 12 of them are assumed. He was recently added a couple of Los Angeles courses to his name, but that's really high for both of those categories since he's been around for not very long. 8 times he's been used in ranked. Again, doesn't seem like a high number. However, knowing that he's only been around for 6 tours, that's about 19%, which is like 1 out of 5. So that's really, really, really high. He's only been around in a couple pipes so far, both during the Marine Tour. He was a non-spotlight during week 1, and then he was the spotlight driver in the Marine Tour in week 2. And as you can see down below, we've got some great options for the most frequently used carts and gliders. The cheap snorkel is used 5 times as the top shelf in his 14 top tracks, and the Manta glider is used 5 times in the 14 top tracks. So if you were looking to invest in him to help yourself get those high points, you also want to invest in cheap snorkel and Manta glider if you happen to have those as well.
I bring this up only because these 2 specific items, this cart and this glider, because they're so heavily associated with him. Obviously 5 is the most that we have on this list. Almost kind of imagine it as like an extra cap ticket, in that, hey, if Mario Swimwear is my guy, I'm going to back him up with just almost an extra boost of bonus points behind him, and kind of treat it like that full package, almost like you would a cap ticket, kind of to take it beyond the level that he is, really to capitalize on that. When you're moving into the tracks, the thing about it, he's got a lot of unique tracks, and obviously many of them have to do with a beach, and that makes sense. but he's got some overlap. There's only a couple coin box drivers that he overlaps with. But most of the overlap he has is with Chef Mario or Peach Wedding. What's unique about the unique coverage is that let's say to Tabor's point earlier, say Cheap Cheap Lagoon, right? That's one where keeping full combo is going to be tough. A dash ring could help you, or if you happen to get bitten on by a clam and you're falling out, you want to be able to catch back up. And so that dash ring on a lot of these tracks become very, very useful, and I highly recommend it. But overall, there's a couple of tracks here like Koopa Troopa Beach 2 R, and he's the only show in town. You have no other choice than that. And there's other options. I, for myself, who I mentioned started in April, I don't have classic Mario, I don't have classic Luigi, so for Mario Circuit 2T, that might be my only option as well. Or maybe for Remix Mario Circuit 1R, aside of Aurora, who's come back for one pipe, he's probably gonna be my best bet. So some great tracks here. I think his skill isn't quite the best, but he got 12 assumed tracks, 14 tracks, and he's so hot right now. No wonder he's wearing a swimsuit. So we'll take it forward to number 6 on the list. Hopefully you're agreeing with most of these so far, but we're excited to keep this going. Next, while keeping things on the swimsuit side, we have Rosa Swimwear. Take us from here, Tabor. Tell us why she's unique.
So Coinbox is back. She was one of the ones that a lot of people held out for. They didn't want to get Mario Swimwear because they knew that she was actually week 1 of the Marine Tour, and so a lot of people spent a lot of tickets to try to get her. A lot of rubies to try to get her, and didn't really care about Mario Swimwear either. But if you did do that, she had a lot of benefits and was really useful for you. As you can see, she was around in the Marine Tour, and she's only been around in those 2 pipes, both week 1 and week 2. She has 13 top tracks to her name. 12 of them are assumed. Only one of them is a city course, and that's the one that just recently came with Los Angeles Tour. She's been used 6 times since introduced, not as high as Mario Swimwear, but still pretty high with 14.3%. And the ones that match her the most are both Red Taxi Blue Soda 4 times of her 13 top tracks, and then the Heart Balloons matches her 4 times. So again, if you got Rosa Swimwear, you're looking to heavily invest in her, happen to have these carts and gliders, you want to look into investing in those as well.
Yeah, she has a very unique coverage in that she shares way too many tracks with other Coinbox drivers. And I think that was one of the complaints is, when she was released in her pipe, everyone was excited. Hey, great, a new Coinbox driver. I'm going to get her and I'm going to use all my rubies, and then could use her for a couple tours, almost a couple months, because there were no unique tracks. Everyone had a level higher for another Coinbox driver. So that was obviously a major complaint. They have thrown her a couple bones, recently with Los Angeles Laps T. But overall, that is a major complaint. One thing to keep in mind is Nintendo has kind of been putting these type of items in scattered throughout this entire game. You'll notice, like, say, Dragon Wings, which is a glider that we'll talk about in our glider video, and it shares so many other tracks, which is good and bad. So for those new players who didn't have a chance to get a lot of these drivers that we've talked about, getting someone like Rosalina Swimwear and boosting up her level gets them caught up to speed. And so it might even make sense if you don't have everyone else already to a higher level, putting a lot of tickets on her, and even a cap ticket or 2 is going to help you out over more coverage than having to use a ticket on all these other drivers. So she's great with their coin box, and I think they are going to continue to use her more and keep giving her tracks. But as of right now, there's just so much overlap, it's really hard to give her a lot of value. But, I imagine her swimsuit looks great. Nintendo knows what struggles we've been through, and I have a feeling she'll probably get buffed here soon. So that's Rosa Swimwear, and we'll move forward to number 5 on the list, which is Peach Vacation. As I entered in the game, and really for the next 3 months after that, Peach Vacation was unanimous number 1. She just had so many tracks. And she was, the Coinbox driver that kept popping up and ranked. But things have changed. So tell us a little bit about Peach Vacation, Tabor.
Yeah, so Peach Vacation is is interesting because she is one of the oldest ones in the game on this top 10 list. And we have finally hit number 5. So this is the best of the best, everybody. Out of the 96 current drivers as of time of recording, we're going to get to the top 5. And Peach Vacation, I wouldn't say has fallen to the top 5 because she's still really strong. But there's been some other ones that have showed up a little bit recently and are a little bit stronger than her. Anyway, Coinbox, again, never can go bad with that. 13 top tracks to her name. 10 of them are assumed. So she has 3 city courses that she's a top shelf in. She's been used in rank mode 12 times. Now, 12 is a high number, but that percentage is low because she's been around for so long. So out of the many ranked courses that have been available since she's been released, she's been used 12. And if you really buffed her up and have done a lot of great things with increasing her value, then she'll reap rewards for you whenever she is a top track course. But again, 8.3%, it's not as high as some of the other ones that we talked about, but still she's been around 12 times. She's actually one of the more common ones of the top 10 because she's been in 6 different pipes. She was introduced during the Paris Tour back in November. As a week 1 spotlight. She also was reintroduced during the Valentine's Tour, during the Peach Tour, and she's been in also the Throwbacks pipe during the Super Mario Kart Tour. So she's been around for quite a bit, and if you haven't had a chance to get her, it looks like that she's going to be back around for the Anniversary Tour, according to the graphic that's been released. Happy Ride and Kabuki Dasher 3 times, according to the most matched items, and then Tropical Glider, Daisy Glider, and Blooper Hanafuda 3 times as well for the gliders.
Awesome. Moving forward to her coverage, the good bad part about her is that she does have a lot of shared with the top 10, but in reality, outside of Rosa Swimwear and Gold Koopa Freerunning, she doesn't have any other overlap with some of the bigger characters, some of the Pink Gold Peach, Party Time Pauline, Gold Dry Bones. So from that standpoint, she does share with the top 10, but if you're picking between Mario Swimwear or Peach Vacation, assuming that they're the same level, you're always going to go with Peach Vacation. So from that standpoint, she's got some great value. Some of her specific tracks are actually really helpful to have Coinbox on, say like, Toad Circuit R or, Koopa Troopa Beach T that has 7 item boxes. I mean, this is going to be very, very helpful for you to be able to leverage her skill. But again, great paired with the 3 I mentioned before. And although she does share a lot with the top 10, she shares them being the only Coinbox driver for some of those. So keep that in mind as you are allocating your tickets. But most likely you've already put a lot of tickets on her and probably have her at a decent level based on Tabor and what he said and how many pipes she's been in.
Yeah, one thing I want to add is that even though it looks like she's the only driver for those Paris Promenade courses, keep in mind those only really been around once. However, they might return for the Anniversary Tour, but if they do, those will probably get buffed. So there'll be some other company that she will have, and we don't know what that will be. But exactly what Studfit said. She's a great Coinbox driver. Not a lot of Coinbox options in all those courses, so she's going to do nothing but great things for you.
Yeah, as we move forward to number 4, those Paris tracks, you can't go in knowing you're thinking that she's the only one going to be on those tracks. They're going to be throwing people onto those tracks. And you almost hope that your drivers aren't thrown onto that track, because that means that they're going to be thrown on a track that isn't brought back around very often. So keep your eye on that. Now we have a unique one, the only double Bob-omb driver that we have on the list, Black Yoshi. He's probably one of the most unique on the list. Tell us a little bit why.
So he was introduced during the Yoshi Tour back in April, right around the time that Studfit joined. And he's really unique because he was not acquirable, if that's a word, unless you decided to pay money on a banner. He was actually a $20 banner, not a $40 banner. So if you decided to spend $20, you probably again, I'm not pay to win. I don't spend money other than on Gold Pass. But if I had to choose somebody to spend money on, it probably would have been him back in the Yoshi Tour, just because of how valuable that he is and the ways that he could benefit you as you try to do well in your ranked courses as well. Now, on my spreadsheet, which again, the link is down in the description, I keep a track of what I call the most rare items, the ones that have been around, the ones that are the hardest to acquire. Black Yoshi is actually number 1 on my list because he has only been in 1 pipe and he's only been on 1 banner, and that's the only time you could have got him. The pipe was the Super Mario Kart Tour. He was in the throwback drivers, and again, he has great value. Double bomb-omb's not a great skill, but in terms of how often he's used, he'll reap a lot of rewards. He has 15 top tracks to his name. 13 of them are assumed. He's got 2 city tracks of Tokyo Blur. He's been used in rank mode 11 times, and he's kind of the quiet guy. You don't really notice that he's there. Most of the time, I don't notice he's there because I don't have him. But he does show up every now and then whenever you're looking for him. 14.7% is a pretty high percentage, almost 1 in 6. And the ones that match the most with him are all 3: the Dozer Dasher, the Kabuki Dasher, Cactex for the carts 3 times, and then Butterfly Sunset, which is a great glider by itself, 4 times for Black Yoshi.
Good points. You see there so many unique tracks. When I was putting together the slide, he basically he broke the slide deck. He's just got so many unique tracks. Even his 2 city tracks were pushed there to the side. So if you have him to a high level, he's going to be most likely someone you're going to want to use for so many different tracks. Very little overlap. Essentially, just a lap with 4 different drivers on really just 2 rotating tracks and 2 RT tracks. But just so much value there with his coverage and how much he covers uniquely. For myself, I did pay that $20, so I had him at level 1, and I never really used him. And it wasn't until everyone was saying, "Oh my gosh, he's great out on every track. He's my one driver I wish I had," and I was like, "Oh, maybe I should start using this guy." And so it was exciting to see him come back for that throwback pipe, and hopefully he's got a unique set of coverage. And that's why he's number 4 on our list. Moving forward to number 3, we're coming close to the final top 3 here. Unique driver in that he's not Coinbox, but you're probably familiar with and probably wanted to use him. If you have him, you probably use tickets on him because Lucky 7, obviously number 3 on our skills list. Tell us a little bit about Chef Mario.
So Mario Chef has been around since the cooking tour at the beginning of June. He's been in only 2 pipes, and that was during the cooking tour. He was the spotlight during week 1, and then he was the non-spotlight item during week 2, and that's all that we've seen in him. Like Black Yoshi, who is my rarest driver of all the bunch, Mario Chef is actually my number 8 rarest driver, so hasn't been very easy to find unless you spend a lot of money during the cooking tour. He hasn't been on any banners or gold pass gifts or anything like that. A couple stats about him is that already, again, even though it's been since June, he already has 14 top tracks to his name. 13 of them are non-city tracks, which is pretty impressive. He's been used in rank mode 8 times, which is 14.8%. And the ones that match up with him, and these are great numbers down here. So if you have Mario Chef and are heavily wanting to invest in him, you want to also invest in Choco Macaron, which is a high-level cart, or the Poison Apple cart. Those appear 4 times during his 14 top shelf courses. And the Tropical Glider, which again, we'll save that for a later video, but a Tropical Glider is a really good glider, 5 times of that. So again, Lucky 7 is a great skill. It's not one that you're going to get when you're front running, but if you're trying to get to the front, it's an easy way to be able to use that skill to vault yourself up to the lead.
Good, yeah, Lucky 7. It's not necessarily something I'm restarting from the line. I know some people do, and that's just because of the high odds. But definitely a good, solid skill there, especially if you don't have a box. But I think what's unique is he's got 13 assumed tracks, and when you're looking at some of these tracks, you're talking about Luigi's Mansion, which is unique and it's hard to get around, and sometimes you're stuck in the up in the mansion and you're trying to get out, and a couple other tracks here where his skill is going to be extremely useful. He has paired twice with Nabbit, which also has that same top skill, so you're kind of having to pick between those Lucky 7 drivers. But most likely, since Chef Mario's been around a little longer, you're probably going to have him at a higher level. But only 2 RT tracks. I mean, I think a lot of these tracks. I mean, he's obviously clustered with a lot of Choco Island, Choco this, Choco that. And that Choco Macaroon, he actually shares on a lot of different tracks, as Tabor mentioned. But I think if you see Choco in the title, there's a good chance Mario is a part of that for obvious reasons. But definitely a solid driver. Number 3 was unique, obviously due to 13 assumed tracks, and I think Nintendo likes him. I think a lot of people like him and have him, and I think he's going to be included in a lot of other future tours as well. So now we're rounding out to the top 2. Number 2, we have Gold Koopa Free Running. I'm sorry, Dry Bones Gold, the other shelled gold character. I specifically love Dry Bones Gold just because I think that gold looks pretty sweet. Looks like he got dipped in it versus just kind of a goldish color. So tell us a little bit about Dry Bones Gold.
So we are down to the top 2, and Dry Bones Gold is number 2. Again, Coinbox. No surprise that a Coinbox driver is up at the top. The reason that he's been most valuable, he was introduced during the Trick Tour. However, he was never a spotlight item. He's interesting in that way because he's only been available available as a banner during the Trick Tour for $40. If you waited for the Cooking Tour, you had a chance to get him from the gold pipe that was released. However, he wasn't a spotlight, so you had to hope for your luck to be able to pull him. And then he was also in the Pirate Tour for the Bowser Minions special pipe. Again, he wasn't a spotlight, so you had to hope that you had the good luck to be able to pull him. So he's a pretty rare driver as well, that he's never been a spotlight. He's never been a guaranteed unless you paid for the banner. 15 top tracks to his name, which is a huge, huge high number, and all 15 of them are assumed, which means he has no city courses to his name. And that's a great, great, great value for a driver, which is one of the reasons he's at number 2. He's been used in rank mode 8 times, which is 12.1% since his inception, and that's pretty high for someone who was introduced back in April. And then again, these down below are also really great the way that they are. By themselves. Wild Black, one of the most rarest carts in the game. If you happen to have them, it's a great one to invest in. 5 of the 15 tracks for Dry Bones Gold is using Wild Black, and 5 of the 15 tracks is using Barrel Hanafuda. And so both of these would be great things to invest in if you have Dry Bones Gold and have him at a high level.
30% are using both of those items. That's fantastic. Yeah, you see here on his unique list, he's got a lot of Bowser's Castle, and I think you're going to want to pick him over Dry Bowser, which they've been kind of shoving down our throat for the last couple months, and all packs and pipes. Dry Bones Gold, I mean, he is awesome. I love him. 15 tracks. I still can't believe that. No cities. It really doesn't get any better than that. Obviously, there are some other drivers that overlap, but I just think Dry Bones Gold, I think looking at who could potentially take a stab at our number 1 on the list, which I feel very confident in who we're going to go through next. But Dry Bones Gold, I mean, you can make an argument, and he's got a lot of value, a lot of tracks, and I personally love him. He's my favorite. If I get to pick, if you take Rainbow Road RT here, and you have Pink Gold Peach, or you have Koopa Free Running, I'm going to pick Dry Bones Gold. I just love he's just so tiny, and he's just dipped in gold. I just love it. So great driver, number 2 on our list. And finally, the moment you've been waiting for. Number 1 driver at this very moment in Mario Kart Tour, Pink Gold Peach. Tell us why, Tabor.
Again, everyone, please be careful with your comments. This is just our recommendations. This is our suggestions. If you think there's somebody else out there that's more valuable, great. We'd love to hear it. But based on the statistics and trying to stay consistent across the board with with past and present value, we believe that Pink Gold Peach is the number 1 driver currently in the game. Again, our opinion. So, as no surprise, she is Coinbox. She appeared during the Winter Tour back in November, so she's been around for quite a while. She's interesting because out of the top 10 that we've spotlighted, she's actually the most common driver out of the bunch. She's been in the pipe 18 different times.
Wow.
Back in one of the earlier tours, she started to become regular in the pipe. She was one of the regular high ends that you could pull. And so you've had a lot of opportunities to be able to pull Pink Gold Peach. And it's great that she's pretty common because she's so valuable in our opinion. She has 12 top tracks. All 12 of them are assumed. No city tracks to her name at this point. 13 times she's been used in rank mode. High number, pretty low percentage, about 1 in 10. But again, she's been around since November, so that's pretty good. And she's been nothing but paying dividends on some of these tracks that Studfit's going to talk about here later on. Bright Bunny is a great cart to go with her. Bright Bunny is used 4 times in her 12 tracks. And then actually there are 5 different gliders that are tied at 3. We decided to just spotlight the Pink Gold Paper glider because we feel like that one goes the best with Pink Gold Peach. But again, our number 1 pick for the top 10 driver after 1 year is Pink Gold Peach. And for those of you who have played either new or consistently and have her, I don't think there's much to argue about that she is very valuable in this game.
Yeah, I think anyone who would agree with us and is maybe making the argument against Bowser or anybody else, I think your biggest argument is look at that great pairings at the bottom. She doesn't overlap with, geez, 6 of the other top 10, and really until Rosa Swimwear came on the scene, which again is just recently. You could have added another 3 on there, so another 3 tracks as her unique coverage. She's permanently in the pipe. Just if you look at the LA tour, she doesn't have any city tracks, but she was brought in last week on DK Pass, and then this week, obviously for ranked as well. If you look at her tracks as well, Rainbow Road T has 7 item boxes. So you're thinking about I could get 3. I could get a triple coin frenzy, triple coin box frenzy, any combo of them on that track. You're looking at DK Pass, which has 8. I mean, these are great tracks to have a coin box driver. I think this is a pretty clear-cut winner, and I hope you do as well. But if you don't, definitely comment below. We're excited for our the other 2 parts of our 3-part series on the karts and gliders coming up next week. But hopefully you enjoyed this list. Obviously, it's just a moment in time, and anything could change at any point in time. But the fact that she's been a part of so many pipes, so many packs, she's permanently in the pipe as well. I just feel like they're going to continue to give her value, and I don't think that's. I mean, you're looking at 12 tracks now. I wouldn't be surprised if she's at 15 or 16 before the end of the year. So, very valuable driver. I love her. Make sure to put tickets on her. I think I probably, out of all the drivers, I've seen her double capped more than any other driver on the circuit. So, excited to see other people agree. With that being said, that's all Tabor and I have today. But thank you very much for joining us. Until next time. Wish you the best of luck coming into the anniversary, and hopefully we get plenty of rubies, hopefully we get plenty of coins, and all kinds of fun stuff. Hopefully they don't let us down. So thanks for joining us.
Thanks, everybody.